So I thought the Aishwarya Rai Abhishek Bachchan stuff had kind of died down, but now there's some interesting updates from the past couple weeks, and even Nimrat Kaur has entered the chat and vaguely responded to some of these rumors. So we're going to talk about it. We also have some interesting items coming out of the celebrations the past couple weeks with Diwali and birthday parties, and more importantly, who was not in attendance. Finally, we'll take a look at the box office battle between Bhulaiyaa 3 and Singham again and what it all means. So let's get to it. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Hotchaipod, a podcast where we spill all of that sizzling Bollywood tea. I'm your host, Jazz, and today, by popular demand, by request, and by YouTube kind of blowing up with this, we will be going through the latest updates with the Aishwarya-Abhishek, the general Bachchan of it all. And I mean, surprisingly, this is a story that keeps going, and I have some thoughts on that itself towards the end of this segment. So what happened in the last 2 weeks, right? What could have happened? Well, first, the Bachchan family was notably very absent from any Diwali festivities. Like they didn't go to any of the main parties in the industry, Manish Malhotra, whatever it might be, nor did they seem to host their own, which sometimes they do, and they will usually, paparazzi will get a glimpse of people coming in, usually Aishwarya and Radhya coming in. So that didn't happen. Okay, Bachchans are MIA, not the end of the world. But what didn't help was that Aishwarya had her birthday a few days ago, November 1st. And nobody from the Bachchan family wished her online. Not even Abhishek this year. Okay?
So for 3 years. Wait, excuse me? Did you just say let's talk about the husband?
Because last year, for her 50th birthday, which is a big milestone, right? He was not at her birthday. Everyone remembers this. She had this event at a hospital. Her mother was there. Radhya was there and she gave a speech. And meanwhile, Abhishek had just posted like a happy birthday for her on his Instagram a day late. And it literally just said happy birthday. So if you think there's still nothing to these rumors, okay, it's just social media. Give me a few more minutes. So then this affair business jumping into the bang, the Abhishek and Nimrat Kaur stuff continues to circulate. So much so that there were wedding spoof photos. And there were these articles online saying that these are AI generated photos. And I think that is generous. I would like to say badly photoshopped pictures because that looks like a Canva free subscription, not even Adobe. But I digress. Okay, people need to chill. Like, what compelled you to do this? I will say it was very obvious, that the Bachchan PR team was responding to this, which makes some sense, right? It was obvious because the copy that was probably being given out to these different sources, the language was kind of biased. It was like, oh, Abhishek Bachchan is an upstanding guy and they need their privacy for their private life. Like, why are you preaching to me, right? This is just supposed to be like a news site. Just report if this was fake or not. You don't have to give us a lecture. So speaking of fake, so Simi Grewal, you guys know her, right? She had that very famous talk show, Rendezvous with Simi. And honestly, she has some very shocking interviews. And when I say shocking, like, she would just ask these very intense questions and celebrities would just like answer them like, oh yeah, let's talk about Rekha being in love with Amitabh Bachchan or whatever. However, an exception to that would be Aishwarya Rai because if you watch her interview, she's kind of able to gloss over, move past some of the interrogation because, pageant training, hello. Maybe that's why Simi Grewal hates her. Okay, let me backtrack. You're like, why are you saying that, right? Well, several weeks ago when Aishwarya and Abhishek were a bit more in the news. I think Amitabh Bachchan had done some post and I think he hadn't called out Aishwarya and Radhya like in the post or something. So then the speculation ramped back up. Like, okay, is there a rift? Are they separated? And so on one of these posts on Instagram, Simi Grewal went and commented and it said, quote, "You people don't know anything, so stop it." Okay, I didn't care about it enough at the time to mention it here, but now this week, with the affair rumors still very active and emphasis on rumors, okay? Simi Grewal went and posted an old clip of Abhishek Bachchan on her show, which I posted a clip of on this YouTube channel. And she writes this comment of like, anyone who knows Abhishek in the industry knows that he's this really nice, decent guy. As if guys who seem nice don't cheat. But okay, next. moving on. Bigger question, why are you doing press for the Bachchans? Like, why are you their mouthpiece? She has since deleted the post because Homegirl was getting very trolled and very bashed for this post, right? Because it seemed like it was very anti-Aishwarya, and of course Aishwarya has a million times more fans than Abhishek Bachchan. I was like, this is what you get for being a pick-me-sha, okay? I just learned this word. There's this crazy lady on TikTok. Her name is Shira or something. And instead of saying pick-me's, she calls people pick-me-shas. And I just, anyways, it's my new favorite thing. So from now on, you act like a pick-me, I'm also going to call you a pick-me-sha. But I digress. A few episodes ago, I had addressed people who were wondering, why hasn't Aishwarya Rai, spoken up about these divorce rumors and said something either which way? And this was even before the affair rumors had started, right? So now it's a lot murkier. To be quite honest, that has never really been her style, right? To disclose intimate things about her personal life. She also might not want the extra scrutiny on Aradhya. And again, she benefits from being quiet because she hasn't even said anything. She has continued to be very dignified and not say anything. And yet industry old guards like a Simi come out of the woodworks and preemptively are jumping to defend Abhishek. So imagine if she did say her piece. She might also then get public backlash, right? And then people could have sympathy for Abhishek. So why should she? Why bother? But let's not forget that she is not the only one staying silent through this. Yes, when Abhishek was at the Paris Olympics, he did try to say, yes, he's still married. But I don't know. That just feels like a technicality at this point. Otherwise, they are keeping mum. Everybody. They're keeping their trap shut, minus some of this press work. And I actually saw this very random article saying, Rekha's fondness for Aishwarya is what caused the rift in the family. Give me a break. You know what? Let's talk about that for a hot second because I have seen too many hilarious comments from you guys saying, like father, like son, having an affair, whatever, right? So next week, we are going to have the legend back on in the flesh, in full video this time. My mother, Naz, will be co-hosting, and we are going to do a little discussion about the Amitabh, Jaya, and Rekha scandal of it all because she lived through it, and I did not. And we're also going to look a little bit back at Silsila and how it relates back to the scandal at present day. And of course, our normal hot chai topic. So just a plug for that because I am excited and it took a lot to convince her. But who was not completely silent on this was Nimrat Kaur. Granted, she didn't really say much. She neither denied nor confirmed these rumors, to be honest. Maybe that's the point. So here's her exact statement. She said, I could do anything and people would still say what they want. There is no stopping such gossip and I prefer focusing on my work. Okay, fair enough. I think that's an implied denial, but it's still a little cryptic. Also, is it just me or am I seeing her around more often? Maybe I just never noticed her before. But she was at the Citadel Honey Bunny premiere yesterday or today. It was Varun Dhawan, Samantha, their new show, right? And it just seemed random. Is she in the show or is everyone else just very burnt out from Diwali? So they're like, whoever can come walk this red carpet. Okay, I'm being unkind. So before we wrap this up, before we get to the rest of the pressing hot chai, does this affair, very serious question, benefit Abhishek Bachchan and Nimrat Kaur in some way? Now, hear me out because I know it sounds crazy. I know. But I have been thinking about this. I'm like, this is probably the most attention either of them have ever gotten in recent times. That film that they did together, nobody knew about it. It's called Dasvi or something. And then this month, Abhishek has a new movie coming out and it's about, I think he plays a terminally ill person or something. And it's called I Want to Talk. The only reason I even know about this movie is because of this scandal. I don't know if that kind of information would have reached me without the algorithm. And maybe Nimrat is enjoying this relevancy too. I know you guys are going to say I'm being a little cynical, I'm being heartless, but that's the hot take. That's the hot chai take. This is showbiz, baby. And even negative press is better than no press if you are irrelevant. Okay? Oops. It's my opinion! Touching on all of the Diwali parties, and no, I'm not going to recap every single one because that would be long and boring, but I had a few observations. What I did see is that we got an even harder launch, but still a soft launch of Kriti Sanon's alleged boyfriend, Kabir Bahia. And I had talked about them maybe being in a relationship a couple months ago. Okay, you heard it here. Not sure which episode, but at this point, it does seem like maybe she's getting a little bolder. Maybe the relationship's a little bit more serious. So on the dossier, he is this like rich Trustafarian boy from London, very rich parents. And I did see online people who were like, I knew him in college and he's a playboy, or he and his brother are spoiled brats. And to that, my response is, obviously, have you met a rich, good-looking brown boy in college? Just even the ones who are barely attractive still manage to act up. Okay, it's just the age group. So maybe Kriti Sanon, she's just having some fun, but I don't know, after this long and you're putting him in the Instagram carousel, I would say she's caught feelings, okay? And they must be in a real relationship. So best of luck, because it could not be me dealing with a 24-year-old, but I have to say they do look cute together. He's nice and tall, and so is she. This is random, but Siddhant Chautervedi, he randomly gets a lot of hate on Reddit, or at least from what I've seen. Like, I'll see random posts about it. Personally, I think he's cute and silly. You guys know that. I do kind of root for him. I think he's talented enough. A couple of my friends, won't mention names, think he's very hot. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we're the outliers. But today I have a little snark, okay? Because I saw a video of him dancing at one of these Diwali parties and like dancing. When I say dancing, I mean like his life depended on it, like Michael Jackson, okay? And I just thought, okay, you're doing a lot. But then I thought, maybe, he just had a good pregame or, whatever. He's just in the holiday spirit. But then on Reddit, people were roasting this. And it turns out actually that Siddhant was dancing at some party, and that's how Zoya Akhtar saw him and cast him in that movie Gully Boy, with Ranveer Singh. And I did not know that story. So then it's like, wait, was this like an audition or something? Are we trying to do this again? Because the box office, it didn't do so hot for the last movie. It did okay, but obviously didn't meet expectations. But you know what? I will say this. He is not a bad dancer. So credit where credit is due. So in other party news, Ananya Panday had a big birthday party, which, I don't know, maybe that's where Siddhant was dancing, but I don't think so. And the guest list kind of stood out to me. It was a little interesting. I mean, like Ranveer Singh was there. You got some other big names. I feel like maybe she's trying to position herself as less of a teeny bopper, more of like a serious star. I was surprised to see Katrina Kaif and Vicky Kaushal at the party. It felt a little random to me. Like maybe there's like a potential K-beauty collab with Ananya, or maybe Vicky's playing nice, to be considered for roles opposite her, which would be smart of him. I do feel like that is how Rajkumar Rao has managed to kind of stay on the, inside of these circles rather than on the periphery, is like he comes to the industry parties, he makes friends with people, and he kind of plays the game. But if anyone else knows if there's like a friendship there, or if there's like an upcoming project or something, feel free to comment. I'm all ears. Perhaps more interesting than who was at the party was who was not at the party. So Janhvi Kapoor notably was not at Ananya Panday's birthday party. And okay, maybe she's out of town, maybe she's filming something, right? Who knows? But then I also saw that Janhvi did not wish her on her Instagram. So that is unusual for this group of Nepo girls. The Suhana, Shania, Ananya, Sarah, all of them. Kushi, whichever one you want to put in this group. They all are like that. They're all posting for each other's birthdays, and Instagram's like a big thing. It's like, well, what? So then what's the tea on that, right? I don't know what the tea is on that. Maybe, Ananya said Janhvi's boyfriend was kind of weird. Or more plausibly, I think Janhvi might be suddenly getting jealous of Ananya, because Ananya is now kind of rising star. She's getting flown to the Chanel show, and maybe Janhvi is not liking that. Maybe Janhvi is viewing it as competition, especially like with Dharma or who knows, right, with Karan Johar in that relationship. But remains to be seen. I will be keeping an eye on that dynamic for sure. Watch them start commenting tomorrow. So regarding the box office battle between Singham Again and Bhool that happened this Diwali weekend, both of them had huge weekends, okay? Singham Again currently, I think, is at 210 crores globally. So that's big for, box office sales. And then Bhool 3 had a 108 crore opening weekend. And globally, I think now is at 200 crore, in collection. And that, as a side note, is higher than the opening weekend of Bhool 2. So for anyone who said Bhool 2 was only successful because, of the original Bhoolaiyaa and not because of Kartik Aryan, I feel like that's debunked. More importantly, who won this battle, right? So Singham Again is like slightly having higher numbers, but not to be all Sesame Street, kumbaya. But it was a good box office weekend in general. And I am glad that people were excited enough to go to the theaters for both of these movies, even if the movies themselves questionable. I'm seeing some very questionable reviews. Talking numbers though, I'm pretty sure that Bhool 3 is probably emerging as the hit between the two. I don't know. I know that Bhoolaiya's budget was something like 150 crores, while Singham Again's budget was closer to 350 crores. That's what's being reported, which makes sense. They had a huge, cast, ensemble cast, all the action and all of that, right? So then Singham Again would have to do, even bigger business to recover that budget and make it a hit. Side note, there is such a ground level following for Kartik Aryan. And yes, I know he does his own PR spins and all of that, but who doesn't? I saw him at all these theaters visiting and all these people just celebrating him and dancing on his movie and just really excited. Okay, it's nice to see a star. And I guess we'll have to see if that star holds going into his next release, which I think is Aishwarya-Abhishek 3 with Tripti Dimri. Finally, before we move into Teacup Time, I just wanted to acknowledge the passing of the amazing fashion designer Rohit Bal. And it really seemed very sudden and he just had a show recently and I was posting about it on my Instagram if you guys remember. So just sending my thoughts to his family and thinking of him because he really was such an icon. And I did see a nice tribute from Sonam Kapoor. She was wearing one of his archival pieces and then she posted a nice touching message on her Instagram. So it was nice for him to be getting his very well-deserved flowers. So for Teacup Time, okay, one of you teacups wrote in asking, what do I think of the name Dua? Okay, so the name Deepika and Ranveer gave their baby Dua. I think it's chic. Don't forget, these are celebrities. They're not just going to pick a normal name, okay? They're going to pick a name that's going to be talked about. We've discussed this before. I saw some people were annoyed that she picked a Muslim name or an Arabic word, but respectfully, get out of here. we just let's celebrate this. And plus, we do say that in Hindi, right? 4 prayers. So I think that has no weight. And I think people need to stop with that. It's my opinion! Also, I saw Varun Dhawan named his baby girl Lara, which I do like Lara Dutta. So maybe these short names are coming back into fashion for a little bit. And to wrap up this episode, we have a funny poll that I put on the hotchaipod Instagram stories. So by the way, if you are not already following the hotchaipod Instagram account, go ahead and do that because there's always a lot of fun discussion and memes and polls and I don't know. I've just been really enjoying it. It's very fun every day. So on my story, I posted this scene that someone else had posted of that movie Meri Pyari Bindu. It's Ayushmann Khurrana and Parineeti Chopra. If you haven't seen it, it was whatever. But anyways, there's a scene and then she tells him on the phone that she's married. And he says he's happy for her. So I asked you guys, how would you handle a phone call from your ex like that saying, oh, I'm married, by the way? And the teacups did not disappoint. 42% of you said that it would not be possible because your ex is blocked. And this is the energy that I need us to keep through 2025, through infinity and beyond. So with that, teacups, stay slick, keep on blocking, and until we catch up next week, bye!